Hello, welcome to the print studio. One of the most frequent things I hear is I don't want to print with oil-based ink or paint because it's toxic and it really smells. Well, in this video I'm going to show you that neither of those things is true, and in fact printing with oil-based ink or paint can actually be completely non-toxic. I'm going to show you what I use to print with and how I clean up afterwards. No toxins, no smells, I promise. At the end of the video, I'm going to show you how I clean my hands after each print session as well, and how you don't need to use anything toxic for that. So keep watching for that. I'm Ruth and I make videos from my tiny shed studio in Bristol, UK. I help artists deepen their practice through hand printing at home. If you would like regular updates, tips, hacks, how-tos, writing about art, all the things you need to know about hand printmaking, then do join my email list. The link is below, and you get your free guide, How to be a Rebel Printmaker, as well when you sign up. Right, let's get looking at inks and cleaning. So most people have the idea, I think, that oil paints are toxic or smell really bad because of painters. So painters tend to clean up their oil paints and their brushes in particular with terps or white spirit. Now that is horrible stuff, really stinks. You have to dispose of it really carefully. But we are not using, as printmakers, we're not going to be cleaning brushes. We're not using paint brushes. We're using rollers, we're using flat plastic surfaces. And so in which case we only need vegetable oil, plain old vegetable oil, and either kitchen towel, or I use rags. So I have a big pile of rags that I just collect as I go along. And that is all you will need to clean up, none of which smells bad and none of which is toxic. So let me show you. Okay, so first things first, what I actually use, I have to say, I tend to use oil paint for monoprinting, just plain old oil paint. That tends to be for monoprinting. I used oil-based etching ink or dry point ink for doing my actual dry point prints, thing like this. And this is created from a printing plate, and these dark lines here are printed with oil-based etching ink. In fact, I think you can pretty much only get oil-based ink to do etching and dry point. So you have to at some point face the fact that you're going to be dealing with oil-based ink if you're going to do something like that. You can, of course, also use relief ink, lino printing ink, block printing ink. You can get those as either water-based or oil-based. I don't mind both. I quite like the oil-based, I have to say. The pros of this are, of oil-based, I think, certainly of oil paint. And I'm just going to use a bit here to make a print and then clean up for you to show you. The pros are colour. Colour of oil paint. You can mix really beautiful subtle colours, and this is one that I've already pre-mixed. So that's partly why I use them. Also, when you're doing things like monoprint, you don't have to have really sticky inks or paints because they don't particularly have to stick to a printing plate. If you are doing something like etching or relief printing, then you might want to get something that's actually for the job, and they'll be a little bit more sticky basically. So the other great thing about them is that they are really easy to roll out. They're quite thin. Oil paint certainly is quite thin. I'm just rolling this out here. I'm not making it that even. I'm just going to create a very simple little monoprint here. But as you can see, it's then quite easy to take off. I'm just using a piece of card here. So you can manipulate it in any number of ways. You could take ink off. You can just kind of be quite gentle with a kitchen towel, something like that. You could kind of use this is an old chopstick. So you can see, it's coming off here quite nicely. And it's really nice and easy to wipe. Using some old scrap paper here, nothing too fancy. So the downside, I guess, of oil-based ink or paint is that it does take a while to dry, definitely. And in winter, if it's damp or cold, it can take days and days, maybe even a week to dry. So that's maybe one downside, although I quite like the thinking time that allows me so that I don't just keep ploughing ahead doing something that maybe doesn't work. And the other thing, of course, is that if you use too much of them, you can sometimes get a little shadow, oil shadow around the edges where your paper absorbs the oil. But you can see here this is fairly thinly rolled out. I haven't got any oil shadow here, and this is really showing the marks that I made, showing them really nicely, and the colours come up well too. So I've now got oil on there, oil-based ink on there, oil paint, and I'm just going to put drizzle a bit of the vegetable oil on there. And I'm going to schmooze it around with my roller, because that's also got colour on it. But bear in mind, this is a piece of plastic. This is a very smooth surface. This is also a smooth surface. This is a rubber roller. So this should be fairly easy to clean. So I'm just going to get one of my rags here, but you could use kitchen towel if you haven't got rags. I just continually collect rags all the time. Any old clothes, any sheets that have got holes in, any pillowcases, just anything really. And I'm just going to take off that oil, and with it is going to come the colour. Now, you haven't got smelly vision, so you won't be able to smell, but there is absolutely no smell here. It's just vegetable oil smell, which doesn't really smell of anything. Oil paints don't actually smell of anything, really. Occasionally, older ones might smell a little bit of linseed oil, but that's quite a pleasant smell. It's not a horrible smell. And I'm just going to give you a top tip here. When you're cleaning your roller, get a piece of kitchen towel or something quite absorbent, get a little corner of it here, and just get that into the ends of your roller, and you'll be surprised how much oil and paint or ink is stuck in the ends here, which will then transfer onto your next print if you're not careful, which is very annoying. So just make sure you just do a little, just cover the ends. Now, so we have no plastics going down the sink. We've got no plastics on our hands, which is essentially what acrylic paint is plastic. So we've got none of that. We've just got rags that we can chuck in the bin. We've got clean roller, and we've got a nice, beautiful print that's come out of that little session. So rags can now go straight into the bin. All that's got on it is vegetable oil and a little bit of pigment and some linseed oil. So that can go straight in your bin. It doesn't need to be disposed of in any different way, as far as I'm concerned. In terms of cleaning hands, make sure that you wash them sort of as soon as you can after your session, just with soap and water, just like you normally would. That's going to get most of it off, to be perfectly honest. The only one I find that stains, and I've got some bit there, is blue. Prussian blue in particular sometimes stains your hands a little bit. In which case, have a go with a nail brush or a little brush. Or the other thing is Swarfega or something similar, which has just got that sort of is grittiness that's going to get it off, and a citrus element as well, which is also going to get it off. But I tend not to have too many problems. Soap and water generally does the trick. Oil paint isn't going to dry. It's not going to dry on your hands at all. It's going to stay oily, essentially, until you wash it off. So from that point of view, it's a little bit easier to deal with than something like acrylic. And of course, if you really want to, you can wear gloves as well. That will prevent you from getting mucky hands anyway. So I hope that's put your mind at rest if you've been thinking about using oil-based ink or paint, and also shown you that you don't have to put up with smells and toxins to get started printmaking. If you'd like regular inspiration, how-tos and your free guide, How to Be a Rebel Printmaker, then do join my email list. The link is below. If this has inspired you to give printmaking a go, then do take a look at my instant access courses as well. So I've got 2 video courses on my website ready to go if you want to get printmaking straight away at home. Right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Happy printing.